But first, I can now, sadly, confirm something I tipped months ago. The Albanese government will call an election before the next budget is due in April. Unless, of course, is even more incompetent than I think. And maybe it is, because the reason it must go earlier rather than later is because it is so incompetent. In fact, the Albanese government is worse than even the Whitlam one. It has now totally lost control of our finances and would be mad to hand down another budget this side of the election and prove it. Yes, worse than Whitlam's. Every bit as economically incompetent, but without the vision. In fact, everywhere you look now, the Albanese government's economic record is in ruins, even without today's terrible news. Most damning is that since it was elected 2.5 years ago, Australians have got poorer, a lot poorer. Real disposable income of each household, that's income you are left to spend after taxes and inflation, has fallen by 9%. Australians have lost 1/10 of their spending money almost, 1/10 under Albanese. That's worse than in the US or Europe. Now, this government has tried to hide our economic decline by importing a record number of migrants, more than 1 million net. And those extra workers, along with windfall prices for our minerals, helped Treasurer Jim Chalmers make the only big boast he has left: 2 budget surpluses.
The Albanese Labor government has delivered a second consecutive budget surplus. This is a powerful demonstration of our responsible economic management.
But if budget surpluses proves, great economic management there, Jim, then what's coming now must show economic mismanagement. Now, the government has already, in fact, admitted in its last budget very quietly that coming up now are 10 years of budget deficits. It's just spending too much and crippling business with green tape, red tape, union-friendly rules, the whole caboodle. And now it's all naturally hitting the fan. Deloitte Access Economics says, well, the windfall prices for our exports, they've gone, and the deficits the government predicted for the next 4 years are all going to be much worse. Over 4 years, $27 billion worse, giving us a total deficit over 4 years of $149 billion. Now, what's more, this turnaround, just this financial year that we're now in, is bigger than anyone's seen. We've gone from a surplus last year to a deep, deep hole this one.
That represents a $49.3 billion turnaround in the fiscal position, which is the largest turnaround in the underlying cash position when you exclude the pandemic. So that means Australia needs to do a lot more to prepare ourselves for the challenges that we currently face.
That's incredible. So do you really think the government is going to hang on to hand down a budget in April, maybe even an early one in March, that's possible, a budget which would admit that it's now in the red, big time? It's just had the worst budget turnaround you've seen. It would have to be mad. And then again, maybe it is. I mean, I warned months ago that Albanese's best hope, maybe only hope, was to call an election before Christmas, before things got even worse for him. He didn't, and now it has. He banked on being saved by a cut in interest rates. Hasn't happened. People getting very angry. Poll numbers just keep falling. Now even his precious surpluses are nosediving into an ocean of debt. And what have we got to show for it all? Worse than Whitlam, as the Shadow Treasurer today pointed out.
After 2.5 years of this Albanese Labor government, Australians have seen their standard of living fall off a cliff, the biggest reduction since records began in the 50s. We've been in a household recession for a record 6 consecutive quarters. This is worse for households than Keating's recession we had to have and the disastrous Whitlam government.
I think voters are waking up to just that. And so to Albanese, I say 3 things. Tick, tick,